into the heart, to feel it, to live with it, that's bitachon. So we have to constantly chazer over all the yesodos, but at the same time, drawing it down into situations. When you bring emunah to life, it's called bitachon. Life, you feel it, you live with it. That's how we are using. There's other ways to say it, but that's how we're translating here. So since bitachon is built in emunah, the two major yesodos of emunah that we live with, I was on Friday, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. He was the Ein Sof, from Ayin to Yesh. There was nothingness, and then there was everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates the world, and that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mashgiach of every part. He runs every single moment. That was brought out in a national way by Yetzias Mitzrayim. So this is why I'm bringing it. Even though Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov lived this way, there's no question. But on a national level, that which we can always go back to, now that we have the Torah, we can always go back to Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's the time and place that HaKadosh Baruch Hu revealed himself. The Ramban writes at the end of Parshas Bo, a very important Ramban. I think something else I wanted to speak about could be we'll tie it into here, or maybe we'll speak about it after Pesach. But the Ramban says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted this one time to reveal himself in a very, very absolute, very open way. He does not do this for every single Rasha who comes into the world. Right? Haman, he did it behind the back doorway, quiet, under the surface. But Paro Mitzrayim, he came out explosive, Eser Makos, Kriyas Yamsuf. It's clearly a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and forever and ever and ever, we can always go back to that, and we draw our emunah that a Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world every single moment.
Is that equal? How does it compare with Har Sinai, the revelation?
Har Sinai was a hemshech of that. It was a continuation of that. It's a continuation of that, and had a Torah. Now that you believe who I am, now follow my rules, which would be a smart idea, right? After seeing what a Kadosh Baruch Hu can do, and we constantly are flowing in our entire lives of the emunah of Ma'aser Bereishis to the hashgacha pratis of every single moment that a Kadosh Baruch Hu runs of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and then living it through the Torah, which is Har Sinai, and we cycle around and cycle around. And that's, we have to constantly be thinking about that. Pesach is the Chag HaEmunah. It's the time that we speak about this in an open way, and it's supposed to be a simple way, right? We're not supposed to have complicated Divrei Torah, because that takes you away from the simplicity of the Kadosh Baruch Hu creates the world, and he runs the world. Look, there were the Jews in Mitzrayim, and then God says this is not good, because the people daven v'nitzak, right? V'ya'anchu b'nei Yisrael. Kadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe, I heard the people, I'm going to come in, I'm going to take them out in all my glory. And forever, we can, every year, and of course every single day, we've many mitzvahs that are zeichet, it seems, Yetzias Mitzrayim. We are constantly in the simplest way, chazering over, and slowly throughout our days, right, we're being more God conscious every single day at work, a little more God conscious in our davening, a little more in our learning, right? Oh, again and again. This is emunah. This is emunah, and all of bitachon is based on that. The more that you really, really believe, the more that you could feel at ease, feel calm, feel that you're in Yad Hashem, right? You're in the big arms of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though it looks like it looks, and there are difficulties and there are tragedies, right? Not everybody who's sick gets out of the bed. But to understand in a bigger picture, there's a big Ribbon Shalom. He's been around a long time, since the beginning. He knows what he's doing, and we give ourselves over to him. That's emunah, and that's bitachon. The problem is that we have enemies. Zelu mazeh, Kadosh Baruch Hu has to create a balance in the world, because if it was so easy, then what's the point of being here? The whole point of being here is that we have to work, we have to make mistakes, we have to be challenged. This is life. When challenges come, that's not the time to become meek. That's the time to become strong. And if we fall, get back up, because that shows you the strongest person is the one who could actually get knocked down and gets back up. Right? That shows how strong you are. You could even be on the floor without any energy and say, Afal Pikein, I'm going to get up. And the problem is that he sent some pretty serious enemies. We have the Nachash HaKadmoni, right? All the way at the beginning of time to fight against the fact that Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world, right? Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world is to be a vadai. It should be so clear. But the Nachash says, is it so clear? Just touch the tree. Just touch it. It's okay. Just touch it. It's okay. Don't worry. Nothing's going to happen to you. I promise. Did you touch the tree? Nothing happened. Forever, there's a doubt in people's minds. There's a doubt. Did he really create? Is there something else going on? Is there two creators? Suffolk, very deep sfekis that we have coming from the Nachash Kadmoni. I'm not going to get into him so much now, but he rears his ugly head many times. Yesh Hashem b'kir beinu amayin. Is a Kadosh Baruch Hu amongst us or not? Right? What do you mean? The man has fallen. What? Still, you can have people who were in Mitzrayim. Chazal tell us 4/5 didn't want to leave. It's hard to imagine. Dam Tzadei Kinamar Moshe Rabbeinu. No, we don't want to go. They see it with their eyes. They're watching the makkos. They're watching every makkah direct hit. There's going to be a yid. This is what's going on nowadays. There's going to be a yid and a goy and a mitzri right next to each other. And one borod could hit the mitzri in the head and just dance around the yid. Doesn't touch the yid at all.
And now they're missiles.
You have to remember that a Kadosh Baruch was doing it.
We see it today.
I'm saying we see it today.
We see it, it's right in front of you.
But still there are people who don't believe.
Yeah.
Because there's always room for...
That goes for myself too. I mean, every day, we pray, and especially during Pesach, that we should be in Yerushalayim.
Because there's 4/5 of every Jew. Is that 4/5 of every Jew that didn't make it out? Right? If we were living 5/5 Jew, then we would be probably a little bit better than we were right now. Not to be, so we don't get depressed by that, but 4/5 of Yidden saw with their own eyes, and yet seeing is not believing. We always are seeing is believing, but you see that they didn't want to go for whatever reason, and they died in that place. So you see something fascinating, that we know that Amunah, one of the understandings of Amunah, the way we say it over, Amunah is a big sugya, but Amunah is the belief in something that's illogical. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is illogical.
He is?
I mean, to a certain degree, you can't see. He's not. If you're trying to prove to somebody...
We just can't comprehend it, but he's Mr. Logic, no?
If you were trying to explain to somebody who's not like a non-believer, just someone who doesn't... How could you prove in logic? You could try the different way. It's not really a mahalach. You can't prove something that's not physical.
It is physical. He created an unbelievable physical world.
Prove it.
If you look into the physical
world.
It's in the
Zohar.
Okay.
It's in the Zohar when we got
I don't...
First,
you can't bring him on a plate. We're believers. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about people who are not believers. You can't bring a physical proof. Show me. You're going to say an apple. I know Victor Miller. I know you're going to. We believe. You still have to believe. You still need to take a little bit of a leap. We're so.
You know, Rabbi Tatz.
You can't bring your mind to this because we've been living in Amunah for so long. But let's.
Eliyahu's prayer in the morning when we daven in the
Petach Eliyahu from the Zohar.
He lays it out sentence by sentence.
No, but it's still not. Just because it's written, it doesn't mean it's like a physical proof.
It's still a leap of faith.
It's a leap of faith. It is good. I'm happy that everybody is such a mom and that it's good. I'm not talking about you. But I'll go upon him.
You know what Rabbi Tatz said? He said, when you walked out of this classroom, I was in the yeshiva 30 years ago. He says, when you walked out of this classroom, Hashem tapped you on the shoulder and said, this is all true and everything like that. He said, a second later, it would be Emunah. That's a human being.
Because Das and Emunah. I don't get to the... Yes. Yeah, that's how... It's a human being. It's a constant... The Yin could see with their own eyes and still have to die in the darkness. But it shows that, like Emunah, takes a leap of faith. It's beyond... Let's not use the word logic. Again, I'm getting in trouble for this. It's something that you have to believe even though you don't see. Okay? You have to believe something that you don't see. You don't see a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you still have to believe in him. You see him? Wow.
100%.
And I'm saying... I'm saying it in a physical way.
When you see
if you see God physically, I'm out of here.
When you see a bug...
I know, Victor Miller, I know.
How does that work?
You're right. I'm agreeing with you.
I wish I could understand anything else, but when you look at the Bria, my God.
I think what Rabbi is trying to say is you can't prove it mathematically or scientifically.
I don't know.
Okay, fine.
Scientists do a pretty good job of it.
Okay, weiter. Weiter, it's okay. So you see, on the other end, in a raw way, you could see with your own eyes. The Kadosh Baruch Hu could come to the greatest revelation of self. Dam Tzadei Kinam. He said, I'm going to do this. Moshe says, there's a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And yet, the Jews can have like a non-belief l'mayla min hateva. Right? Because it has to be zelu mazeh. For our emunah, sometimes you have to go l'mayla min hateva. Zelu mazeh of that is that there could be a rishus, such a deep koach inside. You could see the clearest revelation of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's possible. Without being blown to smithereens, because no one can see a Kadosh Baruch Hu and live. Yet, your defiance, your denial, your kfira could be l'mayla min hateva. How could it be? So we have to just know that and be careful. That's if we believe Chazal that forefathers died, yet even though they saw it, then we have to take that mizbon. We have to know how to learn. 1 second. Is any part of me like that? Do I sometimes see a Kadosh Baruch Hu in my own life? Does he ever tap me on the shoulder, and then the next moment I'm yelling at my kids or something? Mm-hmm. Do I have some of that 4/5 in me? Right? A person has to question himself, and it's not something to become depressed by. It's something to sober up, and we have to work on it. Emunah and bitachon, because the klip of Paro is very powerful. Paro says, "Mi Hashem." Hashem says, "I'm going to show you who I am." After Dam, Mi Hashem. Fine, sorry there. Mi Hashem. Kenan, Mi Hashem. Right? What was the cycle of Paro? Paro doesn't want to let anybody go. He wants control. This is what we were talking about last week. He wants control. Mi Hashem, who's a Kadosh Baruch Hu? I should just give up my control of these people. So he's stubborn, right? He wanted control. I have the shlita, right? The emunah, I'll just say this. The emunah that a Kadosh Baruch Hu runs over b'hashgacha pratis, that ultimate emunah that he runs every single thing, means he has the shlita, and I don't have the shlita. He has the control, I don't have the control. Right? That's, yes? Paros, the whole klipa of Paro was against that emunah of hashgacha pratis that was brought out by Yetzias Mitzrayim. He's the head klipa, he's the rosh, saying, I want control. I could decide how things go. Right? So Paro gets stubborn, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, listen, let my people go. Paro says, who are you? I'm the guy. And because he says he's the guy, he makes a bad choice. Right? When you start to take control, you start not to see a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you become narrow, Meitzara, Mitzrayim. You start to make bad choices. We've discussed this many times. What was the bad choice Paro made? I'm not letting the people go. So Kadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, let's try to break your heart open. So he sends Dam, Sardeya, Kenan, and now Paro's in pain. Egypt's in pain. But he held on to control. Because when things get out of control, there's two options. A person could say, I'm not in control, and they can give it up, or they have to go over the top and try to force even more control on top of the control that they already had. Right? Kids don't do that. Of course they do it. If you don't stop that right now, I'm going to take away every toy you have in the house. And they don't care. And then you have to say, a harsher threat, and a harsher threat, to the threats that we know that are so illogical, it's never going to happen. I'm going to send you to boarding school, take all your money and your clothing. The kid's like, okay, thank you, Paro. Because you lose control of your mind. Situations, we have to know how to deal with. You can't, right? Kadosh Baruch Hu controls. When you try to control, all you do is you lose your mind. And then you make bad choices. And then you become stubborn. And then a Kadosh Baruch Hu sends another situation to open you up, not to hurt you, but to open you up. It has to be harsher. But then you say, no. I'm going to control even that. And so you come up with another way to try to control the situation, another control. And then Hashem says, no, you're not getting it. You have to let go because it's not about what you want. It's about what I want. And this is better for you. And the guy says, no, it's about what I want. And then it's this struggle you have with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And he has control. You're trying to pretend you have control. And then it's 10 makas. The person goes through this his whole life. He's trying to control his job. He's trying to control his ruchni. He's trying to control his family. It doesn't mean, be very careful, it doesn't mean let everything go. But there's a way to do something that's called hishtadlus. You have to hishtadlus. That's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants you to do. The problem is when our hishtadlus goes too far. When Ishtadlis goes to the point where a person thinks he's doing this to control an outcome, that's where the problems start. You can't control the outcome. We've learned this. This is Bitachon 101. Only Kadosh Baruch Hu can control the outcome. We have to do what we think HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to do, which would, in theory, create the outcome that we think should be according to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. But that's it. But when we try to control the outcome with our hishtadlis, now we're in big trouble. Now we're in Paro's world. Mi Hashem. Right? If you're trying to control the outcome, then where's the Kadosh Baruch Hu in all this? That's a little bit of kfirah. So when we start to lose ourselves in certain situations, be misboning. I'm not saying every single situation is like this, but think, am I trying to control everything here? Am I trying to control the outcome? Am I trying to control my children? Am I trying to control every single aspect? Or am I just doing hishtadlis according to what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do and letting him control the outcome?
Both by Pharaoh and Gemara also say himself and also tshuva. Let's say a person gets himself into such a spot that he's so stuck and they don't even allow it. In the Shalim, that they don't allow you to do tshuva. The Pharaoh was the same thing. He was so stuck already that Hichbis is legal. It didn't say that he couldn't anymore because he was so stuck.
Because he was still stubborn.
Right. But,
he did it to himself.
But correct. But had he Hirhu tshuva at that point, he wouldn't have been able to because of Kadosh Baruch Hu said, I'm not letting you anymore.
Well, Chazal, if we play through, he does do tshuva at the end. Right? He becomes the king of Nineveh.
Right.
So there's always hope. But he obviously deeply, the Torah is teaching us, that he really didn't want to let them go. He was trying to hold on. It shows how crazy it could be. We're not so much different, just not such on a grand scale. But we try to control everything.
Hishtadlis doesn't necessarily, I know it's not the way to approach it, but it does get the result that you're hoping for, whether it's your davening, whatever the case may be. And it affects your rookiness, because what you're trying to do, what you're talking about, Hishtadlis is trying to control the result. If you don't get a result, and rookiness is...
Well, what are you defining as ruchnius?
What's that?
What are you defining as... You're saying the ruchnius means your...
Your emunah.
One second. You tried to daven and it didn't go well. Mm-hmm. So now you have a choice to either be upset that it didn't go well or to believe that a Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted it this way. You have the opportunity to raise your level of emunah, specifically when it didn't go the way you wanted. There's always room for ruchnius and emunah. Oh, there's never a moment you can't choose God. We have to just get in the mindset. We're not so clean in here. It's not our fault. Just no one ever taught us. Ruchnius is where we get hit the most. Even though, I'll just leave it at that right now. We think that we have more control in Ruchnius because we think we're supposed to, because we think we're going to get judged more in Ruchnius than Gashmias, right? When we become more from could mean, mamish, you weren't from, you're from, or within your fromkeit, you're working on yourself. We take it on ourselves even more than sometimes Gashmias. And that becomes our battle of bitachon, hishtadlus versus kfirah. We have to be thinking.
But what I'm saying is that the control you're talking about as well? Like
when a person's upset afterwards?
Yeah, it's like, power had control, that's one thing, but I guess to say if we're result oriented, is that a form of control that we need to work on?
If result-oriented means that you're getting upset every single time it doesn't go the way you wanted it to be, yeah, that's a paro, yeah. And it could be with davening also. Paro is not just in Gashmias. Paro is this little thing in your brain saying, hold control because it's on you. You have to do it. You have to protect yourself. You have to be the best. You have to... And if it's bad, you're bad. A little Paro, though. What is it in there? He's in there all the time. He's like the root of all, really he's like the root of all of our, bother, we're frustrated.
Rabbi Miller, one of the rabbis says,
yes.
They asked him in one of the questions after the class, why is it that they're stealing so many Sefer Torahs now, Rabbi? What's going on? Because you're not locking them up. So he talks about that with kids who are falling out windows and the people who are negligent. He talks about that with the Hanukkah candles, that a house went on fire. And Rabbi Miller says, stop blaming God. You were negligent. It's not an easy thing to. I thought you said once it's done, it was from Hashem. But he's saying you have a role in this world. It's
those
your
are two different
fault.
things. Once it's done, it was from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. If the stars get stolen, it was a Kadosh Baruch Hu. But you still should have locked it up beforehand. What's the stira? We talk about this all the time. Up until the Maisa, you do your ishtadlis, it's ki'ilu, it's on you. You got to put your efforts in. Not about the results. You have to do what you need to do, what's appropriate for this. Lock the Sifrei Torah.
Right, but once
But if they are stolen...
He said stop blaming God, though.
Of course, we're not blaming him means you're upset at him. It's Kadosh Baruch Hu did it, but it's to teach you a lesson. When the parents punish the kid, so the kids say, "How do you punish me? I'm blaming you." But isn't the point of a punishment so the kids realize they did something wrong and have to work on themselves?
I wasn't following. Sorry, I missed it.
Like a brain freeze.
Yeah.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Let's say we're going to use these lashonos. He's punishing the people. They didn't lock it up, so he punished them by letting them get stolen. So the people should get upset at HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or they should say, you know what? We messed up. We should learn our lesson.
No, they wouldn't get upset at him. They'd say, oh, Gamzu Latova.
I mean...
And then you might say, I don't know. I'm just giving an idea that it's... he says sometimes, stop blaming God. It's your fault.
I think we should always stop blaming God. I mean, it's always up to us until the moment. And then, we've discussed this many times. It's a balance. We have to know where we're responsible and where Kadosh Baruch Hu takes over. And up until the situation, you put your kochos in. After the situation, it's a Kadosh Baruch Hu's decision. But that's supposed to teach us what to do moving forward.
It's about blaming God, more about accepting God.
Yeah, it's accepting and then and accepting and saying, well, now what do I do with that? In a calm way. And if I messed up, take responsibility, but without the guilt. But take strong responsibility, because if you don't take strong responsibility, he's going to do it again, and he's going to make you feel guilty.
Then you look at a tragedy like what happened in Brooklyn last Moshe Shabbos, with the family that was lifted from the car accident.
And
so you say,
what happened?
The family was two girls in the
walking in the street, a car accident.
So you look at that and say, you have to have a moon and betachon, but there's no shtadlis there.
Crossing the street?
Yeah. No, they're not crossing the street. They're on the sidewalk.
Oh.
It just happens. See, I mean, those kinds of things.
And for what? I mean, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. See, with Hashem's in control, and obviously, for whatever reason, that's what he wanted. But, those types of things, you have to sort of internalize and say, the innocent people, well, why did it have to happen? You're talking about stolen Torahs and being negligent and not locking them up.
We're not talking about lies.
The window. And now you have something that people are not negligent.
Okay.
Like
Let's reel back on. So when we get into the world of Ishtadlis, so we're talking about how a person can end up doing too much Ishtadlis to the point that he's trying to control the results. Like that Lashon. You're trying to control the results when you get upset when the results don't come out the way you like them. That's how you can learn, that you are trying to control the results. And this is a lot of times, right? This is happening all the time. And we don't realize, it's not a kfir that you're going to get, flogged for or you're going to, put in jail for. But it's a mini kfira that actually affects our life. I mean, you get to choose almost. Your bechira, right? The ultimate bechira of life is how much emunah do you choose to have? Remember we said one time, it's a little bit of a Jewish maybe, but Hakol b'dei shemayim chutz miyir shemayim. I said this once. Mm-hmm. Everything's b'dei shemayim. Everything. Hakol. Everything. So then what's the chutz? What could be outside all the events that happen? If everything in Gashmis and Ruchnias is all b'dei shemayim, so what's chutz? So remember if we said Yira shemayim, Yira is also in Chassidus, it's an Indian of Re'iyah. But you fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the high level of fear. Yiras Ramos, when you see, Ki'ilu you see him, not physically. I know you see him, but for the rest of us who don't actually physically see him, means when you understand him, you perceive him. The more you perceive HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? That's the meaning of Yira. So Kol B'dei Shemayim, everything is B'dei Shemayim except for one thing. Did you see Shemayim in that event? That's what the HaKadosh Baruch Hu leaves us. Your perception. your understanding, right? It's Gashmias, stock market went up, went down. A low lane when someone passes away. Kol b'dei shemayim. Davening didn't go well today. You tried to learn, it didn't happen. You couldn't get there. You didn't have your Gemara. You went to learn, it didn't make sense. Hakol b'dei shemayim. It's up to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Except for one thing He gives us. Did you see that was shemayim? Did you surrender your control and say at the end of the day, okay, however it went. That was a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and now I'm going to go on with my life, knowing that. And if I could have woken up a little earlier, so I woke up a little earlier. Not that would have changed the history. That's it. Kadosh Baruch Hu decided. You can't change history, but I could change how I act the next step forward. These simple thoughts again and again and again and again. No? This is this destruction of Mitzrayim. The Mitzrayim is the destruction of Paro. This is bringing Kadosh Baruch Hu into Mitzrayim. All of our life is boundaries. All of our life is stuff that we're limited. Person thinks he has control. You have control. So then snap your fingers and give yourself $1 million. You can't do that. So if you can't do that, where does that end? So snap your fingers and give yourself $50,000.
Forget the snapping fingers. Say, do your hishtadlus to try and make it.
Right? Person, if you have control, person has control. If he thinks he has control over this world, right? So snap your fingers and give yourself $1,000. $1 right now. You can't do it. So where does that end? Where does a person say, okay, this is, $1 or $1 million is not in my control, but if it's $1,000, that'd be in my control. In this situation, the kids, this is too much. I can't control them, but I'm going to control them in every other situation. Where does a person, you ever think about this? Where do you think your control is? Do you even think about it? That's too much. I can't control the weather, fine, but I can control everything else. Really? What do we really control?
Our reaction to the circumstances.
Fine, that'd be beautiful. That's all we thought. We'd live a happy life.
It's an ideal bitachon to get to a place where we realize we have zero control over anything.
Except our reactions, maybe, because
Yeah.
and even that, by the way, we can go and say,
Of course.
even when you messed up, right? If a person would think, right, where do we go? If a person would think that he has control over his reactions, even that, which is it's like nothing. That's like the lowest thing.
Why is it like nothing?
No, meaning, how do I explain it? It's very low. Meaning, I can't control the event, but I can control my reaction, which is a tiny little thing, right?
It's not tiny.
Not tiny. Okay. I'm using what's the word?
Some people freak out. Some people are calm over the same thing.
Right. So, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. Just the way we're speaking in language. It's, to most people, it would be small compared to the big event. Your reaction, you're a little guy, it is big. I'm not saying it's not.
Well, you can control your choices, right?
Well, choice of what?
Set your alarm clock so you can wake up on time.
Right.
Right?
And what happens when the alarm clock doesn't end? You slept right through it.
When you lack discipline.
Are you upset?
It depends. It depends. I mean,
You could control
if
just
sleep
that.
through it, then
We've discussed
obviously,
this.
you
All you
have
can
some
control is
motivation
your alarm clock.
to wake
If
up.
you don't, because we discussed this before. If you can get your head into this, every moment, every move you make, every micro move is a hishtadlus, and then there's always a Kadosh Baruch Hu who's the result of that hishtadlus. I mean, you want to get up. We discussed this. Remember this. You want to get up for shul. This was the case. You want to get up for shul. It's hard for you to get up. You want to get up for the 7:00 minyan, whatever it is. You said so. The overall goal is to do the hishtadlus to get to shul at the 7:00 minyan.
And it's a noble goal.
And it's a noble goal. It's a great thing to do. There's no difference between the noble goals and the, let's say, the gashmis, which is it doesn't. So what do? You have to do your shtadlus, right? You have to do your shtadlus. So what's your shtadlus? Set my alarm clock. What happens now when the alarm clock goes off and you didn't get there? I'm not saying this probably because I didn't prepare to say this, but if you remember, so if a person gets upset, he's missing something. There's two things going on at the same time. There's the overall goal to get to shul, and you're doing your shtadlus to get to shul, and then that bigger goal is broken up into every moment until you get to shul. Because there's 5 levels of hishtadlus, let's say. There's 5 moments of hishtadlus to get there. You have to set your alarm, to get out of your bed. You have to, I don't know, you have to get dressed and make your coffee and get to shul. I don't know. Each one of those is a mini hishtadlus with a result of that hishtadlus that a Kadosh Baruch Hu chooses. So there's the overall, I'm going to do all my hishtadlus to get to shul, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to choose if I get to shul or not. But then even by setting my alarm, let's say the alarm doesn't work. I made a mistake, I pushed the wrong button. Or I slept right through it. I got woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just didn't hear it. There's a million things that could happen before that one alarm. And we have to have that belief that even that, yeah, I did my hishtadlus, but I can't even control that one tiny result. Let alone the larger picture.
At the same time, you have to realize that maybe you have to do more hishtadlus. That you messed up.
So
to get yourself
afterwards,
into that position.
so after you're done, so let's say that you slept right through the alarm clock. Now you have to start thinking, okay, HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want me to get to the meeting today. But it's still a good thing to do, so we have to start the process again. I'm going to set my alarm clock again. 1 second. Should I just do the same thing again? Meaning, why did I sleep through it this time? Well, if it was because I got woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason, okay, what am I supposed to do? But if it's because I made a mistake on the alarm clock, maybe that's too early. Maybe I need to go to bed early. You have to readjust. But to always do it in a way of minchas nefesh and yishuv das, that's bitachon. When a person, you can have a person who wants to do some hishtadlus, he wants some result. He wants a result. That's what he thinks is the emes. And now he does his hishtadlus. It doesn't go. Doesn't go. He tried to get up for davening. It didn't work out. You could get upset, angry, cranky, bothered at yourself. You can get upset and cranky at Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm trying to go daven. You're not going to let me go daven. Right? You're big mammon, right? You're such a mammon that you're upset at a Kadosh Baruch Hu. You could say, it was a fluke. It happens. He's calm. It's a fluke. No worries. I'll start again tomorrow. He could say, that's life. It happens. You try. It happens. Four results. 4 reactions. Upset, cranky at yourself. Upset, angry at the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's a fluke. What was the last one?
Life.
It's life. All things that a person could say, whether you're angry or you're calm, right? Not one of those is emunah b'tachon. Not one single reaction there was emunah b'tachon, which is 99% of the way people live their life. Correct? Where's the Kadosh Baruch Hu on any of that? Except if you're angry at him. This is very slight, because Paro does not want you to think about a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Paro says, no, you're in control. And even when it doesn't go and it's a fluke of life, that's like, you put that into the control. Like, even within my control, there's always a few things that are not in control. That's okay. It's just natural consequences. How about, the Bari Olam, they must have, right, bring him Kadosh Baruch Hu into it. Because for whatever reason, the Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't want me to go. I don't know, this morning. But I think it's a good thing to do, man. I should try. Did you bring a Kadosh Baruch Hu into it, or you did not bring a Kadosh Baruch Hu into it? We think that we bring him into everything. We do not. Because it is so subtle. It is so subtle.
And it's funny that you bring exactly that example. So I was going to sleep, we came back from Tina last night, I was going to sleep, or trying to go to sleep early enough. All of a sudden, I don't know if anybody else heard it, there's music pounding all over the neighborhood. There was like deep bass, whatever.
Yeah, I think it was probably outside my window.
No, it was
Yeah,
by Peninsula
Sears
Lafayette.
Oh.
My kid's up and she says, go call the police, find out what this is. And my wife is saying, you have to get the kid to, she has to be not, find out what it is, go call the police. So she's on the neighborhood chat. I'm walking around the neighborhood trying to find this thing. This is like starting at 11:30, 12:30, 1 o'clock, whatever. So I finally called the police at 1:45. And this says, yeah, we have heard other reports. Also, we'll try to see what we can do about it. I wanted to yell, send a bloody cruiser. Well, okay, fine. Go back to bed. And then this music is pounding. Still fine. I finally fall asleep. And then, because I had really plans to be up early this morning, I wanted to learn. Let's see what it's for. It's Sunday morning. It's the time when I can do this. So, yeah. Anyway, so it didn't quite work. So I was okay, I guess you didn't want it. But I was out of bed by like 5:30. But then it was just.
It's daily occurrences, but you have to.
I was.
Once you bring Kadosh Baruch Hu into it, and you have a little, like a little bit of, emes to you. Okay, that's it.
Said, okay,
What am I supposed to do?
You just want me to be tired all day long. Okay,
That's it.
I'll
Okay,
do
fine.
that.
Then you're happy. Then you can live your day. And you know what? It doesn't always go as bad. I've had many times, I'm sure everybody could attest to their own lives, where, let's say you sleep, you had a horrible sleep. There is no way to get through the day. But you stay positive, and somehow you get through the whole day. Wow, a miracle. Somehow. But if you would have been upset by it, guaranteed you would have fallen asleep. You'd be upset, cranky, you'd fall. The Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's the one who could also give you strength during the day, even without having your 7 hours of beauty sleep. Right? Where is he not in control? And if he decides you're going to fall asleep during davening, so be it. Did you try? You didn't try. It's so subtle. It's like there's the power in your heads that are trying to fight against it right now. This can't be. This can't be. This can't be. Can't be. I have to control. What do you mean? You're saying I have no control over anything? I can just do whatever I want? No, I'm not saying you can do whatever you want. It's hard for people to give up this. What do you mean? But it's on me. It's my responsibility. I have to get to shul on time. I have to. Yeah, you have to try.
It's hard even at work. Music work, you're responsible for it.
It becomes complicated. But I'm going to be telling you that we have to pound it in all the time. It's not like a 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year program. We're at 100 and how many, Shem? I'm not going anywhere so fast. What safe are we doing next? Shaar Habitachon.
Think about a mashal. Just
Yeah.
in the past few minutes, a sailboat out in the middle of the ocean. And so you're on the sailboat. You don't have an engine. Just the sails. You set the sails. You do whatever you need to do on the sailboat. But then you just have to sit back and let go. And there's winds, there's waves, there's tides, there's other boats. There's so many things. There's the light. It's dark.
100%.
Million things. And just like I'm now sitting on my sailboat, and then if I get knocked off course because a wave comes, I make a little adjustment on the thing, try to get back, but that's it.
This is a beautiful mashal, and there's a million mashalim like this. But when then you bring it home, and you try to say that,
Can I just? A part of this mashal is that our job is to provide, to a certain extent, what the shtadlis means, we're giving direction. Our job.
kivun.
We give direction, and then we sort of have to lose ourselves in that ocean of wherever the result is. Wherever I get taken by this huge ocean of waves, I get taken. I have to give the direction.
Yeah.
And then there's a pulling back.
100%. The difficulty is, and this is always from the mashal to reality.
Yeah.
This is mashalim are beautiful, but we have to start living this way. Slowly, with small things, thinking. That's why Shaar Habitachon, you have to think, to analyze the situation. You get upset. I said this 1,000 times. You get upset about something. You get bothered by something. Stop. Think about it. What happened? Why are you bothered? Break it down. Bring a Kodesh Baruch Hu into it. Where did you not bring him in? Where did you have expectations? It's really not so hard if we're willing to just stop and be honest with ourselves. We have to see where we're trying to hold control and where we're surrendering to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and you'll see anytime you're upset, you're holding control to something. I think that's you could say that 100% of the time. Okay, let's say 99.9. I never like to say 100%. If you're upset, you're bothered, you're frustrated, it means you're trying to hold control. Otherwise, why'd you be upset? If you believe the Kodesh Baruch Hu did it, and you believe that it's for the best, even when it doesn't go the way that you wanted, because it's for your best, so what's there to be upset about? And we're human beings. And of course, we're going to be bothered by things like that. That's okay. But at least to then stop and calmly think, why was I upset? Where was I trying to hold control? We have to learn ourselves. It's really very simple. What do you want to say? Because I want to just do one last thing. Is it
Do your last thing. I don't want to.
Do last thing. We'll talk about it after.
Let's do the last thing.
So let's just take the piece of paper that I gave. This is Sichas Saran Beis, Rabbi Nachman. I taught it Thursday night. This has to be something that we learn all the time. Let's learn. Before this changed my life. I mean, many times, but even we're going to learn this, and you know what? Let's learn it and then remind me and tell the story. Okay? Let's learn this first and remind me. So right at the end, I'll tell you the quick story. Says Rabbi Nachman, Sichas Saran Beis. So important to chazer over. Tov ma'od is very good. To throw yourself on a Kadosh Baruch Hu and to rely on him. True reliance, lismach, bitachon, trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu. V'darki, says Rabbi Nachman, this was my way. Kishaba hayom, every day, in the morning, every day. Ani moser kol tenuos shali, I give over to a Kadosh Baruch Hu all of my movements, all my thoughts, all my feelings, all my actions. Well, really, let's say my actions. Let's pause that. I give over all my actions. V'shel bonai and my children. V'atuli and be. Anybody who's dependent on me, I give all of those actions. Al Hashem Yisbarach. Kadosh Baruch Hu, they're yours. You run them. You're the Kol Yachol. You're the Ribono Shel Olam. Adon HaKol. You run everything. Sheyiyah Kol Kirtzon Yisbarach. That everything should go according to your Ratzon. Shem, you run everything, and I'm locking into that. I'm believing that whatever happens with my movements, their movements, it's all your Ratzon. It's all your will. This is strong Emunah. B'tachon. V'zeh Tov Mod. This is very good. Gam, says Rabbi Nachman. Right? That's all you have to do. Now listen to what he says. Gam azai ein tzarich lidog v'lashav klal misnai karoyim lav. Now no longer do I have to be worried, nervous. Do I have to think, did I act appropriately, not appropriately? Could I have done it better? Because I relied on the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And any way that it went, this is the way that a Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted it to go. So I don't have to worry anymore, because I did my hishtadlus, but the results are up to Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's what he wanted. If him who Yisbarach wrote to binyan acher, and if a Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted it to go differently, he wanted my davening to go better today, so then he would have had me go a different way, and it would have been according to his Ratzon. Once you give up the control of the results, you give all your tenuos to Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're done. Just let the sailboat just go. It's up to his Ratzon, wherever the winds take you. Of course, you did your hishtadlus. You tried to go to shul. You tried, obviously. Right?
It's not so obvious, but okay.
Well, you did do
There's
your
different definitions of trying. Okay. Like mamishar.
Well, then we can go into each situation differently, but in the general try. So too, when it comes to Shabbos or Yom Tiv, where people have a lot of religious trauma, as I ani moser kol is nagas. I'm not joking. This is why he wrote this. As I ani moser kol is nagas or kol in yanam shall also Shabbos or Yom Tiv Hashem Yisbarach. Right before the Shabbos starts, he's like, Kadosh Baruch Hu, whatever happens today, all the movements, all the behaviors of this Shabbos, this Yom Tov, any way I shake the lulav, the mitzvah is yours. It's yours. It's going to go according to the way you want it to go. I'm going to try to shake the lulav. I'm going to try to get there on time. If some kid breaks my pitum, that's what you wanted. If I trip and fall on the way and I can't get to shul, I can't shake the lulav, that's what you wanted. Again, it's not about getting what you want. It's about giving over the control to a Kadosh Baruch Hu and living with an emotional awareness that the Kadosh Baruch Hu decides all outcomes. You could be calm. No more pressure. Lachatz. Ves lachatzeinu. Zeh This was Mitzrayim. The pressure you feel, the religious pressure, more than Gashmi sometimes. Each person's different. Let it go. Pressure means you're trying to control the results. Right? Feel a pressure. Pressure what? To get this paperwork done or to make sure that the money comes in? That everything Kadosh Baruch Hu give me to, it's all according to your Ratzon. V'azai then, Eichshim Esnag B'Hosa Shabbos Yom Tov Shuv and Choshev V'Choshesh Klal. Once you give over to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, once as Rabbi Nachman, I gave over all my misnagas, all my behaviors, all my actions to Kadosh Baruch Hu. No longer did I think, was I choshesh, was I worried at all? Maybe I didn't act appropriately this Shabbos, this Yom Tov, because you gave it to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And whatever happened, that's what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. You have your status up until the point of the event. Once the event happens, a Kadosh Baruch Hu, whatever you want, that's what happens. Let it go. That doesn't mean you don't try to change things afterwards, moving forward. But whatever happened, that davening you didn't daven at all. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants emunah. It's not you're not being mevatel. Not like you're getting no points. Okay, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you decided today I get no points. I tried to daven, I couldn't daven. I tried to learn, I didn't learn. I tried to do the lulav thing, it didn't work. So I'm accepting 0 points. No. That's not what Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted from you. He wants your emunah points. He wants you to get 100 on your emunah test. So when you say Kadosh Baruch Hu, it's whatever you want. Kadosh Baruch Hu says today your Indian wasn't about davening, or it wasn't about learning. It was about emunah, and the fact that you gave it to me shows that you have 100% emunah. So you got emunah points. It's not like you get nothing; you get everything. He says, I'm no longer worried and nervous and bothered that I act appropriately because I gave over everything to Kadosh Baruch Hu and I was so mechaneh. Now I've learned this. I learned the Sikha. I taught it. And I even did it. Many times in the morning, I'm walking to shul and I'll start my day with this, like Rabbi Nachman says. which is an amazing thing. It releases all pressure. If you have any emunah b'tachon in your life, you can use this now. If you have no emunah b'tachon and you're just playing games to manipulate God, then you're off course anyway. So it was a few years ago. I think it was COVID. It's the first time I can have my own Seder in my house with my kids. I'm super excited. And no one's allowed in, right? No parents are coming. It's just me and the kids. I was excited. This is,
And your wife.
and my wife, of course. So you were prepared, yeah. So what happens? The first Seder goes, and I had things prepared. I'm sure it's happened to you before. They're all over the place. No one's paying attention. No one cares what you have to say. They're little kids running around, crazy. We spoke about this a
It's
few years
always
ago.
the case. You could teach a class, but the family doesn't use.
But when you're the one who's
Yeah.
running the Seder, you think you have control, you think you have responsibility. When you're at someone else's Seder, okay, so whatever goes, that's up to them. When it's your Seder, I could do this. I can prepare different Torah. I know how the kids work. It's horrible. And it shocked me a little bit. I was like, it bothered me a little bit. Like, this is it. This is the Seder. You prepare it. And then a little safer, a little Breslover safer from Rav Kivak. He basically said, you're supposed to say Sichas Aram Beis before you start your Seder. Even though I knew it, I had said it before, I never thought, I should say it before the Seder. And before the Seder, I took these few lines, and I read it. Kadosh Baruch Hu, if you want my kids not to pay attention to one single thing, that's what you want. Not what, because it's not about me. Did that mean my Seder was amazing? Not Dafka. It was a little bit better than the night before, but I was much better. It didn't matter anymore. All the pressure was gone. The Kadosh Baruch Hu, this is what you want? So be it. Gula. That's the destruction of Mitzrayim, the destruction of Paro. Just let it go. You do your shtadlis, and maybe case by case we have to talk. But it be so bichlal. You have to do your shtadlis to try. You still have to prepare different Torah or whatever you think is normal. Prepare shtick, whatever you think is normal. But if it doesn't go, Kadosh Baruch Hu, that's your ratzon. And the whole tachas of the Seder night is to get to Nirtza. It's all about Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's your ratzon, not my ratzon. As we say, Chasal Siddur Pesach, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I did the whole night. I did all the mitzvahs, I did everything. Now it's yours. You do what you want with it. You want to bring Mashiach? Great. You want the Seder to go whatever it goes? Great. And if it doesn't, I did what I had to do. It's yours. That's in the Seder. That's in getting from being in Mitzrayim, with the lachatz, the pressure, the control, to them breaking out. Hallel, Shiras Tishbachos, you could sing to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Even when your Seder looks to other people like it was the dumps, you could be singing to Kadosh Baruch Hu because you realize this is exactly what he wanted. Shall be Yeah. This is from Thursday night, the event that I had. So I gave a Hagdama before the Karduner song.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, Tismach. Yeah. I was going to read it, but it's not.
And the first part is also a song. I think
By these new guys, the Chevron for Yafa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it with you. Take it with you. Take it with you every day.
I liked the last week. The Dati, the Asid. In the Simcha.
That was
Was that your own?
yeah, it comes from both. I don't think people learn that shtick. I don't even know how people learn.
I think I'm saying you kind of glossed it over, but it was like
No, that was I was.
I mean, you were glossing over the main point.
The whole
You
thing
were
was
pushing the main point, but I'm saying that the fact that those
the
were
remez. Yeah.
the remez.
Because the ikar is the main point.
Right.
Remez is the remez because I don't
But
want
I'm
to get stuck on
saying
that.
that's
But
for me
that's-
it connected it. You know.
Two questions. I'm going to leave the first one. The second one is a very serious one. So we all grew up in the same family. That's right. My sisters. You're not. Okay.
I got it.
Girls.
Okay, I got it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying we all grew up in the same
what?
house.
Yeah.
So I think, and I don't really know, why did I go this way? Was it effort on my part? Hashem decided I'm going to be religious and they're going to fall away. Was it my hishtadlus? And the same thing I think about, like, for example, I have a friend who's in the more easy problems in my life. So if somebody's getting into divorce problems or confrontations, you can't blame God. You have to say, maybe I should take a class. Maybe I should this. And not everybody does that. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot in your hands. And my first question is going to be, Hashem says, here's a Shalom Bayit year. Here's a this year. Here's a that year. I gave it to you. So don't tell me it's my fault. It's your fault. It's the person's fault for not picking up the books and not taking the classes. So you can't say when this guy gets divorced, well, it was meant to be. You were a fool, and you should have been learning.
I'm the worst when I walk in the door, like the rooms and the door handle sticking out. He's like always like, this one not really, but like my shot is like I'm not listening.
No, I don't. Oh, I can't answer that.
I told you this.
I'm trying to follow.
Say it's your fault.
Speaking about
I want to go because he wanted to ask the questions, so then you can go back and make amends.
Yeah, I told him that. I was trying. I was
Dating next time you did.
And he said, sure.
So I said, sure.
Taking a class. What's going on? And I said,
I'm trying to slide it down. Was I saying that it's cheaper?
Yes. The reasons I say different things is because I left with this one and I left that one. She told me I didn't have enough empathy. And she quoted the Torah. So where did you get your application? What book is it?
They were saying that they you make this
Maybe it'll come to you.
Think about it. The same lives. You don't want to do more than once. It's the same. You don't get books. You do one thing or you don't want to do the end. I'm just trying to
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You should just whoever most guys are not going to be
That's clear, actually. I said, learn one Seder. Learn one Seder in the morning.